Alright, so we are using long division here. X minus 2 going into 3x squared minus 14x minus 10. I'm going to look at the first term and I'm going to do a simple division problem. I have 3x squared over x. And then you go ahead and just simplify that. That's 3 times x. That is just 1x. And you can cancel those off. You're left with 3x. I'm going to place the 3x here because you notice where all my pen is. You'll notice at the end of the problem, those will all be the like terms in this column. So let's write down our steps if that's helpful for you. We're going to do a division. What do we do next, class? Multiply. So 3x times x is 3x squared, and 3x times a negative 2 is negative 6x. What's after multiplying? Subtract. I like to subtract with this red pen. And the reason why we do that, think of it as, I'm trying to show you all this math trick to understand what's happening to the problem. It's 3x squared minus 14x minus 3x squared minus 6x. And when you normally have done that problem, you would do the inverse. Right? You can think of it as a negative 1 if you wanted to. And you're distributing that to each of these terms. And then you're combining like terms. The reason why I don't like students kind of like, they put a minus sign right there and then they change that to a plus, right? Then you go back and check your work and you don't know what the original problem was. Do you see that? I know that's a student still working on their mental math. 3 minus 3 is, I don't need to write as 0x squared, right? Negative 14 minus negative 6. This is the opposite of a negative, so that becomes positive 6. Positive 6 and negative 14 is negative 8. The fourth thing we're going to do is bring it down. Again, I'm thinking, how do I go from this x here? How many times is it now going to go into this negative 8x? And you can do that by just putting negative 8x over x. Notice how I'm not concerned with the negative 2. So someone asked me, Mr. Ng, when do I use that negative 2? If you think about it, I'm just using the first term for division. I will use that negative 2 when we actually multiply. Class, that becomes what? Negative 8. Right, your x is canceled, just left with negative 8. So let's go ahead and multiply negative 8 times x. And negative 8 times negative 2. Positive 16. Pay attention. Negative 8 minus negative 8. Negative 8 plus 8 is 0. So this is how you know you're doing it correct. That first term you want to eliminate. You want it to be equal to 0. Negative 10 minus 16. Negative 26. Your answer is 3x minus 8, remainder negative 26. Class, this tells you with the remainder that x minus 2 is not a factor. Let me go one step further. How many times does x minus 2 go into this polynomial? Your answer is 3x minus 8. Watch this. Negative 26 over x minus 2. So you've actually done that before. Think about it. If I said 3 goes into 4, what do you do with this 1? You normally didn't say 1 remainder 1, right? That's back in the 3rd grade. Well, what do you do with that remainder? It's this number, your divisor, 3, and your remainder goes in the numerator. Does that make sense? You've done that before. And you're actually doing the same thing right here. So this is my final answer. Raise your hand if you got negative 26